Hi all, sorry, was having some technical difficulties. I will get started here in a moment. All right, so sorry about that. So welcome to the second Rocket Company Community Challenge training. My name is Ellen and I will be leading you through today's presentation. I'm with Mighty Cause, which is a fundraising platform for this year's Community Challenge. Mighty Cause is an employee-owned business focused on nonprofit customers. We help host giving events of all sizes like the Community Challenge, but also offer a full nonprofit suite of fundraising tools. And these are tools that you will be able to take advantage of during the challenge. The webinar will be recorded and posted in the toolkit on the Community Challenge under the Resources tab. And you can also use the Zoom Q&A module to send across any questions you may have, and we will get to as many as possible during the webinar. I also have Deneen on here. She is with the Rocket Community Fund. Deneen is the program manager over there for volunteer engagement and giving. So hello, Deneen.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, so we will take a look at today's agenda. We're going to touch on getting started on the platform and all the prizes available. Then we'll move on to a deep dive onto the strategy and utilizing the tools that come with your Mighty Cause account. Lastly, we'll have a Q&A session to make sure we answer any questions that come up after the presentation. If you have a question while I'm presenting, please just type it into the Q&A of your Zoom panel and I will try to cover it at the end. If we run out of time, I'll be sure to email everyone to get all those questions answered. And if there's kind of a running theme of questions, then we will add that to the frequently asked questions on the challenge page, so everyone has access to those. So first, we're going to go over some of the basics. So the 2002 Rocket Companies Community Challenge is a 4-week-long event that runs from August 1st at 12 p.m. to August 26th at 4:59 Eastern Standard Time. While your organization will only be participating with nonprofits in your location, the challenge is benefiting 5 separate markets: Detroit, Cleveland, Charlotte, Phoenix, and a national market. The really great thing about this giving event is that there's $275,000 of prize money at stake and lots of opportunities to win. We'll get into the prizes available a little bit later on. So this is the homepage for the Community Challenge. You'll see the URL up at the top. I would definitely bookmark that. You can access each market's page, grand prize leaderboards from this overall challenge site. Once the challenge starts, this is where you'll be able to find the leaderboards that will show your bonus challenge standing. So make sure you bookmark it now so that you will have it when you need it. This page has all the tools you need to. You'll see the resources tab where you can find a comprehensive frequently asked questions, as well as bonuses for each location, challenge rules, which are coming soon, and general information about the community challenge. Navigating your dashboard. So moving on to your organization's team page for the community challenge this year, we recommend taking some time to get to know your team page dashboard. Your dashboard is the admin bar that appears on the left side of the screen when you're logged in on your nonprofit's team page. You'll automatically land in edit mode, which is the view you see here in the screenshot, and you will have, and when you have access to your team page. You can always see the public facing view at any time while you're editing by clicking live page eyeball icon. Under the live page is the page editor icon that allows you to make the page backup for editing if you're not quite satisfied or have any additional changes to make. The campaigns icon gives you a quick overview of all the fundraisers that have joined your team page, while participants gives you visibility into each team member's progress and gives you the ability to communicate with them. You can also invite new supporters to join your team page through the participant section of your team page. Below that on your dashboard is the report section. You'll be able to preview and export your team's donation report and utilize the Mighty Cause Matching Grants tool, which we'll talk about in a little bit. The last option on your dashboard is the settings. Within your settings, you can update your social share template, add a fundraiser template to make joining your team super easy for your supporters, and you can view and manage your challenge checkout flow by adding suggested donation amounts and customizing the thank you page your donors will see and complete the transaction. Customize your challenge page. So your team page is the face of your nonprofit for the 2022 Community Challenge. So you'll want to make sure it looks good and represents your nonprofit well. Just so you know, your team page link is the link you'll share with your supporters to ask them to donate to your challenge page. So to share your page, just copy and paste the URL into an email or social post or wherever you're advertising the campaign. So as you get started, you'll want to customize your team page to match your brand. There are two ways to start customizing. You can click Page Editor in the dashboard. This will open up everything you are able to edit. And if you're a list person, you can go down the list to that opens after choosing Page Editor to make sure that you hit everything that you want to edit. The other way to customize, as you can see in the visual here on the slide, is that you use the little pencil icon that appears on the page to indicate a section can be edited. Just click the little pencil and that section will open up for editing. The checkout flow. So also within your settings section is the beneficiary setting, which is where you can go to customize the checkout flow for your challenge team. This is probably one of the more important features one of the more important features in your settings for your organization's team page. The checkout flow section gives you a lot of control over the donation process for your organization during the challenge. It allows you to opt into collecting the information you want from donors, like addresses and phone numbers. You can also set up custom suggested donation amounts and add descriptions to help tie those amounts into items or services your nonprofit provides and strengthen your appeal to donate. Checkout flow also allows you to preview the whole checkout process without actually making a test donation. So you can see what your final process looks like and use that to edit yourself if needed. Checkout flow is also where you'll go to set up your thank you page, which uses the same text editor as your story on your team page. So you can add text, links, a video or image, and you can also add a custom CTA button that tells donors where you'd like them to go next. A cool idea would be, for instance, asking them to sign up for your email list. So there is a lot you can do with this checkout flow to optimize your campaign and customize the checkout process for your donors. You'll definitely want to spend some time customizing this team page using everything we just talked about. because the more work you put into it, chances are the better that you will be doing during this community challenge. You can have the best campaign strategy in the world, but when your team page where people actually make those donations looks like you haven't shown it any love, you may end up losing some donors. The toolkit has lots of tips and tricks, frequently asked questions, walkthroughs, and it also has templates you can use for email and social media to help you get inspired and figure out how to promote your campaign. This is also where you'll be able to find today's training recordings, as well as logos and graphics you can download to start tying your brand into the Community Challenge brand. Be sure to refer back to it as you are planning your campaign. All right, so we're going to move into talking about all the awesome prizes the Rocket Companies Community Challenge has to offer. The Rocket Companies Community Challenge is offering 5 grand prizes to the organizations that raise the most in each market. The grand prize leaderboard for each market are on the specific markets subpages. As soon as the challenge begins, participating organizations will start getting tracked by the dollars they raised. Now, it's important to mention that only online donations made through the Mighty Cause platform count for leaderboard totals. So this is the big reason why you want to push your donors to give online. You can certainly record a check that is given to you, but it will not be reflected in the leaderboard totals. And the reason for that is because we don't and cannot verify online donations. The leaderboard will reflect your cumulative total from the time the challenge begins on the 12 p.m. on August 1st. So it's a running total of everything you've raised online. And here you're engaging some really friendly competition for these top prizes. There will be a lot of additional prizes available as well. We have specific bonuses geared just for small organizations that run through the entire campaign. Please note that the current budget size threshold to participate in this bonus is 1.5 million. There are lots of matching funds available, basically lots of opportunities to win here. All of these prizes, methods of entry, and dates associated with them are on the challenge site at rocketcommunitychallenge.org under the bonus challenges tab. So you can reference them at any time. Each market has different numbers of winners or prize amounts. So you'll want to make sure that you reference your market's bonuses. Bonus prizes will have live leaderboards this year, so you can see where you stand at any time. The key to winning them is getting your donors invested in helping you climb the leaderboards. So keep tabs on your position on the leaderboard and keep your donors, supporters, and updated on where you are. Continually emphasize how much is at stake. How much could this extra prize money do for your charity? What would that help you achieve? Tie that back into your overall message about what you want to do and why you really want to get people excited about helping you win that money. And another trick is to just concentrate on sustaining momentum. Keep the fundraising going and starting and finishing strong. So we're going to talk some community challenge campaign strategy. So the leaderboards provide some of the biggest prizes available in the Rocket Companies Community Challenge. And the key to winning them is getting your donors invested in helping you climb the leaderboards. So keep tabs on your position on the leaderboard and keep your donors and supporters updated on where they are. Continually emphasize how much is at stake. How much could $10,000 do for your charity? What would that help you all achieve? Tie that back into your overall message about what you do and why you do it to really get people excited about helping you win that money. And another trick is just to concentrate on sustaining momentum, keeping the fundraising going, and starting and finishing strong. Another great strategy is to map out your campaign with mini goals. So since the community challenge is a month-long event, the trick to making the most of the event is to sustain your fundraising momentum. And one great way to do that and make sure your campaign is on track is to set mini goals for your nonprofit to help generate buzz and build excitement. The great thing about the community challenge is the weekly bonus challenges, so you can utilize those to help sustain your fundraising momentum and get people excited about helping you win those prizes. You'll go over them in detail a little bit later, but basically you'll want to think of your overall fundraising goal and what you'll need to raise each week or day to get there. Now, typically the first and last weeks are your strongest, so you may want to boost your middle week by utilizing a matching grant to shake up your campaign. Something else you can do to get your campaign rolling is asking for seed donations. These are donations from people in your nonprofit's inner circle that essentially break the ice with the donors because no one wants to be the first. They help get the ball rolling, and they're called seed donations because they make the number of donations grow. People ask for seed donation. People to ask would be your board, staff, especially those who are director or C-level leaders of your organization, volunteers, or anyone else at your nonprofit who is highly engaging in your work. These don't have to be huge donations, but getting a little bit in the bank by tapping the people in your inner circle really does help your campaign move forward and get donations coming in. A great strategy for driving donations on a giving day is securing a matching grant. A matching grant is essentially a large donation that your nonprofit leverages to bring other smaller donations by offering it as a match. So for instance, if you had someone willing to give you $1,000, instead of just putting that money in the bank and calling it a day, you could use it as a matching grant. So the term of the grants are totally up to you and the grantor. But let's say there's a bonus prize available and you'd like to do whatever you can to drive donations during that week so that you can win. You'd take that $1,000 and say to your followers, hey, between this day and this day, donations will be matched up to $1,000, which basically allows them to double their donation. You can do a lot with the Mighty Cause tool, like setting a cap for donation matching, say $200, so someone doesn't come along and make a big donation and eat up that entire match. So it's a really cool and complex little tool that allows you to do a lot with your matching grant. And on our platform, we've seen that matching grants, especially on these challenges, can be a very powerful way to drive donations. So since matching grants is ultimately just a large donation, you'll want to follow the same processes that you would to secure a major gift. You prospect, cultivate, and ask. People you should consider as prospects for a matching grant are board members, first and foremost. Sometimes an individual board member will be happy to provide a matching grant, but one thing you can also consider is asking your board to work together to provide a match. If your board still has to pay their dues, for instance, you could utilize their dues by turning it into a matching grant. Major gift donors who have given large donations to your nonprofit in the past are also great prospects, and providing a matching grant can be a fun way to liven up their donations. So instead of just writing a check, they're helping your nonprofit grow and drive other donations. And you can also give the donor some extra recognition when they're promoting that match. Corporate sponsors are also great prospects because it's fun, proactive for them to get involved in a public way and draw attention to their philanthropy. At this stage in the game, you can start making phone calls, setting up emails, and starting to cultivate these prospects by letting them know what you're doing and seeing how they might be, how they might have an idea of getting involved. And then in the next couple of weeks, you can make your ask and shore up the details of the match. You can have more than one match running at a time on Mighty Cause, so you can get a lot of great responses, but don't feel like you have to pick and choose those matches. At the end of the day, the matching grant is actually just a marketing tool. So in order to make the most of your matching grant, you'll need to promote it. So the first step is going to the matching grant tool on your community challenge page. You can find it here under the reports part of your dashboard. And adding it there. There are some marketing tools built into the platform for your matching grant, such as putting a sticker on your donate button when the grant is active, some changes to your checkout process to reflect the match, and the match gets listed on your nonprofit profile. But you'll also want to add some information to your story, especially if it's a big match, and promote it on your social media channels, send out emails and so on to let your followers know about this match. Countdowns add urgency, so counting down and sharing your progress can be a great way to get people excited and urge them to stop what they're doing and make a donation. So moving on from matching grants, I want to talk a little bit about ambassadors. So ambassadors are people who are usually in your nonprofit's inner circle who can help boost your campaign. So that includes board members, volunteers, especially ones who are highly engaged, staff members, and so on. Utilizing ambassadors can help you break out of your list of existing supporters and engage new people that you probably wouldn't otherwise have access to. An ambassador can help you in a few different ways. They can simply share a link to your page with their social circle to ask them to donate and help signal boost your campaign for the community challenge. Or if you have a board member, for instance, who is very well connected, this can be a huge boost. Or they can help by getting involved in peer-to-peer fundraising. So team fundraising is peer-to-peer fundraising, where you basically deputize your supporters to fundraise on your behalf. Your official fundraising page for the Rocket Challenge is set up as a team page, so we recommend taking advantage of this since it can be a great way to shake up your campaign and acquire new donors. So you would ask ambassadors to join your community challenge team. This may sound like a big ask, but it's often a really fun way to engage your biggest supporters and allow them to tell their own story about your nonprofit, how they came to work with you, and why your work is important to them. This doesn't distract or draw attention away from your campaign because they're operating alongside your campaign and reaching out to people they know personally for donations. In most cases, they're friends and colleagues and family, not people your nonprofit would solicit for donations normally. So you're actually picking up new donors through P2P most of the time. So for people like your board, volunteers, staff, program alumni, this can be a great way for them to get involved without just being asked to give money. It can make it much more meaningful for them than just making a donation or sharing a link. So it can actually be a part of your stewarding process of building and sustaining a relationship with that supporter. We've also seen nonprofits get some great P2P action going by just inviting people on social media or sending them an email asking for their help. For younger people who have a big social network and are really comfortable online, but maybe don't have much cash to give, this can also be an excellent way for them to help out and make a meaningful contribution. To help make things easier for them, you can share some images, talking points, facts, and logos with them, or you can actually create a fundraiser template they can use to get set up more quickly and pre-fill some of those sections for their page. Nonprofits that utilize P2P fundraising tend to raise more money during giving events, so it's definitely worth talking about how you can incorporate this into your campaign strategy. The timeline is great for you to get started on this. You can start asking people to join your team now so they can begin raising money for August 1st. Email strategy. So your email list is going to be one of your most important tools during the community challenge. Because emails are a direct line to your supporters, unlike social media, you don't have to worry about an algorithm getting in your way of preventing people from seeing what you send them. Because unless they've unsubscribed, it'll end up right in their inbox. So I want to talk a little bit about email strategy because it's going to be very important for this challenge. In general, you'll want to keep emails relatively short, simple, and skimmable. Most people read their emails on their phone these days, so they're not going to read a novel. They want it to be easy to skim and get right to the point. People are much more likely to read emails that pertain directly to them, so we highly recommend segmenting your email list by supporting donors into a few key groups. Donors who have given a lot or given on a regular basis, one-time donors, people who utilize your services but never donated, one-time donors, your board, volunteers, and so on. You don't need to craft an entirely new email to each of these groups, but you can tweak small things about the emails for each group to make it more personal. So for instance, in an email to volunteers, you want to acknowledge how they already help your nonprofit, and you wouldn't want to send an email to a major gift donor for only asking for $25. So identify your key segments and figure out how to tailor your message to them. When an email is tailored to who the recipient is and the relationship they have with your organization, they are much more likely to read it and take action. How you segment depends on the program you're using, but most services like Constant Contact and MailChimp use tags to segment groups of people for your email list. One thing you'll need to pay close attention to is the timing of your emails, especially if you're aiming to win these bonus prizes. I would recommend taking the time to schedule as much as you can beforehand and have template emails ready for things that you'll need to send out a day of, like blast emails telling people where you are, or also if you've won any of the prizes. As I mentioned before, most people read their emails on their phones these days, so make sure you choose a mobile-friendly email template and test it out beforehand. So try it out on an iPhone, an Android, and so on, to make sure it looks the way you want it to look. Leading up to the event, we also recommend doing some A/B testing, especially with subject lines, because you'll want to make sure people are driven to open your emails for the community challenge. So try out a few subject lines, things like adding emojis, and see what works better. So when you're testing out those critical emails, you'll have an idea of what tends to work with your email list. A/B testing, if you are new to the term, is basically splitting up emails 50-50 and testing one variability. So let's say you're testing a button color or a subject line. Half of your list will get email A with one subject line, half gets email B with another subject line. And whichever email gets the most opens wins. So for the button color or placement, the email with the most clicks would win. You just want to be careful about testing too much or throwing too many variables in there, because it's really hard to say what or why something won that test or why it performed better. Lastly, your CTAs should be clear and action-oriented. Things like give now, donate now, help us today. More passive CTAs like thanks for donating or please contribute aren't as effective. You want to be crystal clear and urgent. So for high stakes challenges like this, we really recommend staying in your comfort zone and going where your audience is. What we mean by this is if you've never logged onto your TikTok before, for this challenge is probably not the time to start your TikTok careers. If you have 1,000 followers on your Facebook page, but only a handful on Instagram, then you should spend more time and more effort promoting your campaign on Facebook. Stay in your lane and put your efforts into the platform where you're most likely to reach people and have an impact. I definitely recommend scheduling any posts you can ahead of time just to save yourself a lot of trouble during the challenge and leading up to it. Get your key content scheduled with Facebook's publishing tools or Creator Studio. Go into TweetBack and schedule your tweets, and save any live posting for stuff that needs to be done same day, like thanking donors, updates on your progress, or prize announcements. To that end, you'll want to assign a point person to monitor social media so you can quickly respond to comments and interact with your followers. since this is important on social media, and interaction can also help you in terms of the algorithm. Since most platforms do show priority to posts with lots of engagement. We do recommend budgeting a little money if you're able to boost some of your posts or promote some tweets on social media. $20 for an ad can actually go a very long way. You'll want to make sure your ad is targeted properly, and if you aren't sure how to target an ad, you can always default to targeting the people who like your page or already follow you. In terms of type of content that will do well on social media, it depends kind of a little bit on the platform, but in general, photos and videos do really well. You may want to consider doing something out of the box, like a Facebook Live video or a watch party for your campaign to help generate some buzz while delivering algorithm-friendly content. And finally, when you're planning your campaign, follow-up is very important. When you're planning your content, you'll also want to plan your thank yous to donors. Things like making a video or a photo of your staff can be a really great thing for this. Be sure to talk about the impact of your funds you raised and close the loop on your campaign. That means if you are fundraising for something specific, like a new piece of equipment or improvement to your building or something like that, you'll also want to send emails periodically on your progress. You'll want to make sure you've got an onboarding plan in place for new donors, so they, when they come back to donate again, if you want to collect their addresses, mailing them a welcome packet can also be a great way for them to get onboarded. You can also create an automated email journey where they get more information about what you do and why it's important to support your work. As we wrap up, I want to make sure that once again, you have our support team's contact information, which is always here for you to reference. They're a great resource before and during the challenge for anything campaign related. If you need help setting up your EFT, if you need some help figuring out how to strategize around the weekly bonuses, or if your donor needs a receipt resent, please reach out to Mighty Cause Support. Always happy to help. And let's look through. I do not see any questions. If anybody has anything, Deneen, is there anything you want to add as we wrap up?
No, just want to thank everyone for showing up and participating. If you think of any questions, now is the best time to ask. Otherwise, if anything comes to you guys later, feel free to reach out to either myself or rocketchallenge@mightycause.com. Definitely for anything site specific, you want to reach out to rocketchallenge@mightycause.com. They will be your best contact for site specific questions. But if you want to chat or learn more about the challenge in general, definitely reach out to me. But if there are no questions, I just want to say thank you guys all for popping in.
Yes, thank you all again. Yeah, reach out to us for anything, and we will see you on the other side.